Hey everyone, my name's Jessica Hitch, and I'm a Reiki master teacher in Dallas, Fort Worth. And I've also had a lot of experience dealing with chronic pain and rheumatoid arthritis. And I wanted to share a part of my story with you all because I remember it was like solving a mystery to understand how big of a role food plays in how my body feels. And I have had to try so many different things to improve my health since I was diagnosed in 2012. And now it's been 6 years, and I've really noticed that my body is definitely sensitive to some things and that it can tolerate and digest other things. And see, the trick is it's really personal too. So while there are a lot of really common triggers that might aggravate arthritis, it may not be the same for everyone. So that's why what it boils down to doing is usually some kind of an elimination diet. When I first got diagnosed and I prayed about it, I immediately heard to try the paleo diet. And at the time I was a vegetarian, and I'd even been raw vegan. So I remember thinking, I don't know about meat. And like the paleo diet required me to cut out grains and stuff like that. And I've since discovered that I do have a gluten intolerance. And so I first got that idea actually intuitively. I just got a sense like I was gluten intolerant, and I couldn't really tell you why or how. But I remember this was a while ago. It wasn't really very common, but I would go online and I'd read stories of all sorts of people who'd had symptoms like mine, like joint pain and swelling and stiffness and fatigue and, mood difficulties or whatever. And they would say, once they cut gluten out of their diet, their health improved. And so I actually got some ALCAT allergy testing that told me some things I could avoid. And I got a stool test for the gluten that confirmed that that was something I was sensitive to. Um, and then I've also confirmed it on my own because there was actually a time I went without gluten. And the irony is, as soon as I did the paleo diet and cut out the grains, I started to drop weight because I couldn't eat like the cakes and the cookies and all that stuff I was used to. So even though I was bedridden in pain, it was like I was the slimmest I'd ever been. And I was eating a lot of meat too, and a lot of grains. Like I wasn't holding back. So I always thought, wow, that was interesting. I just lost so much weight by not having all the processed flour and sugar and all that kind of stuff. Um, and so I'd gone a long time without gluten and was feeling okay. And then I saw these cookies that were free and I ate them and they were so good. It's like once I ate one, I wanted more. And, within 30 minutes, I couldn't walk anymore because my joints hurt so bad and were swollen and inflamed. And it really impressed me how badly my body responds to gluten. Because, I've even had doctors tell me, like, don't worry about the food, nothing you can do will improve your health. And I found that to be blatantly untrue. I have gone to a chiropractor in the area who does muscle testing, and he helped me to see what things were aggravating my body. And that's how I uncovered that nightshades cause me a lot of harm. And so nightshades are something I tried to avoid taking out of my diet because they're pervasive. It's like tomatoes, eggplants, peppers, including paprika, goji berries, ashwagandha, tobacco, and probably a few others I'm not thinking of. And so, I grew up here in Texas with Tex-Mex, and I mean, who doesn't love Italian food with tomato sauce or salsa with the peppers? And I mean, paprika's all over the place. I mean, people just throw that in and don't think about it. But since I did the muscle testing, I thought, okay, I'm gonna, cut these out. And what I found, like just the other day, I had an opportunity to eat a potato with peppers and tomatoes on it, and I thought, this is really going to hurt. But I'm hungry. Let's see what happens. And I hadn't had any nightshades in a while. And once I ate this nightshade balm, basically my arms started to be filled with pain and like it seized up all around my arms and like I became like almost immobilized and it was radiating pain and I thought, oh my God, these are really bad for me. And I've also noticed By keeping a food diary and doing a process of elimination, that certain foods also aggravate my condition. Like I noticed rice will do it, and unfortunately for me, chocolate will too. And so I just wanted to make this video to explain a little bit about how food and what we eat can really cause a big difference in the symptoms of rheumatoid arthritis and chronic pain, and to encourage anyone out there who's suffering from that to consider, going on an elimination diet, praying about what diet might be right for you. There's all sorts of gut healing diets, whether it's the GAP protocol, there's the paleo diet, there's something called the autoimmune protocol on the paleo diet, which is specifically to help you clear things out that are toxic. And then another big part of it is letting the gut rebuild so that it's stronger, so that my body isn't responding as negatively to some of these inputs. So, there's like a whole slew of common allergens. It's stuff like corn, soy, dairy, eggs, wheat, and possibly a few more that you definitely want to consider cutting out. And then I've noticed sugar is devastating also. I have discovered I've also got a Candida overgrowth, and so Candida is a yeast that lives in the gut, and it can kind of take over the body, and basically like it feeds off of sugar. And so since I've cut sugar out, I notice if I have a little bit, it really affects me and can cause the pain to get worse. And so, I can relate to a lot of you right now who are probably listening to me and are going, no, I don't want to stop eating cake. I don't know how to cook for myself. Like, I love, all of these like comfort foods. Like, what do you mean no tomato sauce? And I know it sounds really devastating. And I know I've shed many a tear over the loss of these like comfort foods. And it's been especially difficult because it's reached the point where I need to cook all my own foods and I need to know what's in them, or they need to be like very simple whole foods without spices on them, because I'm still identifying what enhances my health and what detracts from it. But the exciting thing is once I got off of being totally hooked on sugar, and once I've learned new recipes where I can kind of adapt my favorites, like even pizza, I found it's made from cauliflower instead. It doesn't use grains, and instead of a tomato sauce, I can make like a pesto sauce. And as far as dairy goes, I found that like moderate goat's milk I can digest more easily than say cow's milk. But I understand it's scary and it can be really awkward. Like if you're traveling to not be able to go eat at all the restaurants or even socially. I've been at many events where there's a whole smorgasbord of food, but I can't trust any of it. And people say, how could you do that? How could you stop eating all these favorite foods? And it's like, well, if you ate that cookie and you could no longer walk, or if you drank that hot chocolate and you couldn't use your arms anymore, would you still want to drink it? And at this point in my life, I'm tired of being in pain and I want to cut it down and, find things that help it. So that's why, like, when I made myself my hot chocolate the other day and it hurt me, I took a sip, I realized what it was doing, and I stopped. And so, now that I'm clear of that stuff, what's really cool is my body will tell me specific foods that it wants me to get, and I'll go Google them and find out, these are really healthful foods for someone with inflammatory conditions. Like one week it was like, just get broccoli, and another week I felt just like I need some aloe vera juice, the more clear I get from what isn't working for me, the more clear I get messages about things that will. And actually my body is starting to feel really good. I'm getting more energy, and I've just got to tell anyone who's considering trying an elimination diet or cutting out gluten or transforming the way you eat, like it is so worth it in the end. I know it is obnoxious. I know it's sad. I know it's actually really devastating to feel like you can't eat your normal foods and how are you ever going to survive? And sometimes it's really challenging, but in the long run, to be able to walk around and move my arms without pain is worth it. And to know that things I'm putting in my body are generating health for my future versus detracting from it is worth it. And I quit my pharmaceutical medications like so long ago. I don't even remember when I took them, and my health does continue to steadily improve, and it's not totally perfect, but the amount of functioning I have available to me right now is way better than what I had when I was taking the pharmaceutical interventions. And I always wanted to stop that because I wanted to treat the real root cause. And so I'm confident that for a lot of you, approaching the diet will really help. And again, I know it sucks. I wish that wasn't the way, but be careful what you eat, keep a food diary, do some research into the elimination diet, and check out, things like nightshades, gluten, and the common food allergens. In the end, it's worth it to rebuild your gut flora and start to recover more vitality than you've probably felt in forever. And just know, not everything people eat out there is actually healthful for the body. And just because it comes in a package and is sold at the grocery store doesn't mean it's going to produce health for you. So pay attention to your own unique needs and definitely consider looking at how food sensitivities might be playing a role in your arthritis. All right, and if you want to learn anything else about how I have approached my healing in a holistic way, you can click the link below and it'll take you to my blog where I talk more about my path with rheumatoid arthritis, Reiki, and different ways I've been able to recover my ability naturally. And yeah, so thanks. Have a good day.